biggest disability that we have as human beings is unbelief. Everything starts with a vision, and a man without vision dies.
How are you going to make it? I don't know, but I will. See, you will when you put yourself in that kind of situation. I'm reminded of two frogs that were hopping down the road, and they fell into a bottle of milk. And one was hopping up and down for a while, and he drowned. He just gave up. But this other frog just kept on kicking. He wouldn't give up. He just kept on kicking. And pretty soon he churned that milk into butter, and he walked on out. So I'm saying, when life catches you by the neck and blind slap you, whap and knock you down, I said, just keep on kicking, you know. And you can kick on out of those circumstances, whatever they are. Not be intimidated by them. Repeat after me, please. I'm going to keep on kicking. I'm going to conquer my fears. I'm never going to give up. Keep shake somebody's hand on your right and left and say, keep on, keep it on.
I think I feel fear quite strongly. So it's not as though I just have the absence of fear. I feel it quite strongly. But there are just times when something is important enough, you believe in it enough, that you do it in spite of the fear. People shouldn't think, people shouldn't think, well, I feel fear about this and therefore I shouldn't do it. It's normal to feel fear. Like there'd have to be something mentally wrong if you didn't feel fear.
So you just feel it and let the importance of it drive you to do it anyway?
Yeah, actually something that can be helpful is fatalism, to some degree. If you just accept the probabilities, then that diminishes fear. When starting SpaceX, I thought the odds of success were less than 10%, and I just accepted that actually probably I would just lose everything. But that maybe would make some progress if we could just move the ball forward. Even if we died, maybe some other company could pick up the baton and keep moving it forward, so that would still do some good. Yeah, same with Tesla. I thought the odds of a car company succeeding were extremely low.
The impulse to dream has been slowly beaten out of me through the experience of life.
There are some times where you're going to wish that you could rewind and do things all over again. There are times where you just wish you could forget memories, and you try to drown those memories in alcohol or different pleasures, and maybe get distracted by the goals and ambitions of your life and try to put the past behind and move forward. We're all human beings. Please don't get me wrong. I don't wake up every morning with a smile on my face like, hi everybody! I have ups and downs. You see my foot? Ups and downs, ups and downs. The first thing I want you to take away from today is this: you will have good days and you'll have bad days, but you will always learn something more or something new, and you will learn more overall on bad days than good days. You will learn more about yourself, you'll learn more about relationships, you'll learn about life and principles, and it'll build your character. If you're a person who wants to, let's say, improve on your character of patience, let's say, don't complain when you're waiting in a line. You ain't going to grow in patience until you're put in a place to wait. It's like you go into a gym and, you walk in through the front doors and, you tell your wife or your husband, I'm going to the gym. You go into the gym and you come in 3 feet and you do a U-turn and you ride out, I went to the gym. Ain't gonna do nothing. You gotta go in there, and what are you gonna do? You gotta pick up the weights, and you exercise the muscles that you want to build. I stand before you without arms and legs, but a very strong man because of the bad days in my life. You know how it is. If you didn't go what you've gone through, you wouldn't be who you are today.
And most people, ladies and gentlemen, have stopped living their dreams because of the lessons they've learned from life or things they've picked up, because we've only been born with two fears: the fear of a loud sound or the fear of falling. And all the other fears are fears we learn, fears we pick up. Whatever you're scared of, little life, the value you brought to the planet, far more important than whatever you're afraid of. You're stronger. So as we begin to look toward the future and look at what will it take for us to break through those fears, one, acknowledging the fear, knowing it's all right, some fear is healthy. Beginning to know that your dreams, your passions, your drive to achieve whatever it is you want, as it has more power and meaning, it will move you past your fears. As you begin to feel that you deserve it, your passion and goal is so strong, the fears won't matter. As you begin to trust yourself and put yourself in the situation where you have to make it happen, you will make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't believe this. I know this from my own life experience. I know that you've got greatness within you. I know that you have unlimited potential in you. I know that you have something to give to the universe that was not here before you showed up. Somebody said that life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. What kind of gift are you giving? And what kind of gift could you give if fear wasn't an issue?
The only way to deal with fear that I found in my life is a couple ways. One of those ways is to turn it on itself and ask yourself, what am I afraid of? If I'm afraid of that, I gotta be more afraid of what I'm gonna miss out on, missing out on my mission, missing out on who I'm supposed to be. In other words, if you're not gonna get rid of fear, then use fear. Use fear or it uses you, it's that simple. So you gotta say, okay, what's the price if I just stay doing this? What's the price? What I need to really get scared if I learn all this and I don't follow through. That's something to be scared about. And then that fear will get you over your fear. It'll push you through. Turn fear on itself. Second way you can do it is use what you've probably heard me say, because I've used it since I was 17, is my little rocking chair test, right? I'm gonna sit myself in my rocking chair, and I'm 85 years old, and looking back on my life, and I say, I didn't do this, or I did.
You can never perfect what we do. There is no way, I've never met anyone who goes, that's perfection. I mean, to an audience outside of your work, people can think that that's the only way they'd ever want to see that part played or that moment done, whatever. But as an actor, and this isn't mock humility, I think it just goes for all art forms, really. The whole point is perfection is unachievable. So it's that constant pursuit of the unobtainable, which is kind of magic, really, you know, and should keep us kind of motivated to try better. You know, it's the Beckett thing, you know, fail again, fail better.
How is it different today in doing your show, late night, than it was 10 years ago? Are you more instinctive? Are you more, do you think less about it and just do it?
It's muscle memory. It's used to,
like a golf swing.
You crunch down, you're constantly trying to learn, you're constantly, you're still thinking, but your ratio of thinking to acting is very different. You know, at the beginning, I was thinking about it this much, you know, in my cognitive brain, and then there was this much, just whatever thin reed of talent you have is there, and then you're thinking about the rest. And then over the years, I think, you know, they always say the reptile brain, the reptile portion of your brain is where you know, respiration, heartbeat, that's the stuff that even if you're knocked unconscious, it's still working. I really believe a lot of my talk show or comedy instincts are now in my reptile brain, that you could knock me out and my heart would still beat, I'd still breathe, and I'd still be asking Lindsay Lohan, you know, some stupid question.
You have become, some way, as part of your DNA, it's become part of your DNA.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is you have to have some ability, but then it's just how much will. I really do think there's just I think people underestimate. It doesn't sound sexy. It doesn't sound cool.
How much do you want it?
Work ethic, you know, and just how badly do you want it? And there have been, you know, many times in the, you know, throughout the years of doing my show where I've thought, you could shoot me in the chest before I walk out there, and I'll still walk out there and do that show, and then I'll come backstage and die. But we're doing that show.
The best advice that I could give you on success is to know that success is merely the hangover of failure, and that failure is an essential ingredient in creating a learning atmosphere for you, so that you can accrue those learnings, those small incremental steps of failure, and collect enough learning so that you can arrive at success, right? I think we're taught in the system that failure is something that you should be ashamed of. Failure is for the dumb kids, because you get an F, or you get a D, right? You're not competent. You didn't comply. You didn't create the evidence of your worthiness. And I could tell you, as someone who's successful, right, both financially and from a wealth creation point of view, but more importantly, a wealth that matters, that success doesn't look like an A+. It doesn't look like 110 in extra credit. And failure isn't as simple as an F. And it's not always, like failure could be very gray, right? And being able to discern what you might arrive at an event or in your life where you think that, wow, I've succeeded. And you're getting the affirmation from all these outside forces. But if it's not aligned authentically with to who and what you are, it could very much feel like failure.
Prepare in advance. You know the old saying, proper prior preparation saves poor performance or prevents poor performance, the 6 Ps. And so prepare your work list for the following day, the evening or the night before. The last thing you do at the end of the day is you lay out the day that's coming. The best exercise is for you to plan your entire next day as the last thing you do before coming home from work. When you plan your day the night before, your subconscious mind then goes to work on your plans and goals while you're asleep. Very often you'll wake up in the morning with ideas and insights that apply to the work of the day. Now, a major benefit of preparing your daily list the night before is that this exercise lets you sleep more soundly. A major reason for insomnia is people lying awake trying not to forget to remember everything that they have to do the following day. But once you've written down everything that you have to do on the list, it clears your mind and enables you to sleep deeply. This will help you increase your productivity throughout the whole next day of work because you'll be more relaxed and more refreshed.
Performing under pressure, whether it's me or anybody else, is the same. You know, I have the same pressures as anyone else. There's time, there's performance, there's financial. I mean, there's deadlines. My pressures are not unique. The situations may be different, or but everybody has the same kinds of pressures. But what I found, or what I find fascinating, is the interpretation of the stimuli. Let me explain. So I was watching the Olympics, this last Summer Olympics, and I was amazed at how bad the questions were that the reporters would ask all the athletes. And almost always, they asked the same question, whether they were about to compete or after they competed. Were you nervous, right? And to a T, all the athletes went, no, right? And what I realized is it's not that they're not nervous, it's their interpretation of what's happening in their bodies. I mean, what happens when you're nervous, right? Your heart rate starts to go, you sort of get a little tense, you get a little sweaty, right? You have expectation of what's coming, and we interpret that as, I'm nervous. Now, what's the interpretation of excited? Your heart rate starts to go, you're anticipating what's coming, right? You get a little sort of like tense. It's all the same thing. It's the same stimuli, except these athletes, these Olympic quality athletes, have learned to interpret the stimuli that the rest of us would say as nervous as excited. They all say the same thing. No, I'm not nervous. I'm excited. And so I've actually practiced it just to tell myself when I start to get nervous that this is excitement. Yeah. And so I used to speak in front of a large audience and somebody'd say, how do you feel? I used to say, a little nervous. Now when somebody says, how do you feel? I'm like, really excited, actually. And it came from just sort of telling myself, no, this is excitement. And it becomes a little bit automatic later on. But it's kind of a remarkable thing to deal with pressure by interpreting what your body is experiencing as excitement rather than nerves. And it's really kind of effective. It makes you want to rush forwards rather than pull back, and yet it's the same experience.
I told you, all of my critics, I told you all that I was the greatest of all time when I beat Sunday Liston. I told you today I'm still the greatest of all time. Never again defeat me. Never again say that I'm going to be defeated. Never again make me the underdog until I'm about 50 years old. Right. Then you might get me. But I didn't dance. I didn't dance for a reason. I wanted to make him lose all his power. I kept telling him he had no punch. He couldn't hit. He's swinging like a sissy. He's missing. Let me see your box. I hadn't started dancing yet. You can't say my legs are gone. You can't say I was tired, because what happened? I didn't dance from the second round on. I stayed on the ropes. When I stay on the ropes, you think I'm doing bad. But I want all boxers to put this in the page of boxing. Staying on the ropes is a beautiful thing with a heavyweight when you make him shoot his best shots and you know he's not hitting you. I would have gave George Foreman 2 rounds of steady punching, because after that he was mine.
Making the right decisions is a one-on-one battle. Whatever majority of the crowd's doing, find your way doing the opposite. And see 9 times out of 10 how right you turn out to be. How many of you, a show of hands, how many of you have found out a way to not waste time? Show of hands. So it's simple. See, God gives us a lot of things in life, but it's a couple things he don't give us. And time is something he gives no man. That's the one thing, no matter if you look at your watch, I looked at my watch, you looked at your clock, I looked at my clock, you looked at your phone, I looked at my phone. Time slows down for no man. So the question is, how much time you gonna waste? I gave up on trying to make money years ago. I gave up on entertaining clubs years ago, 14 years, since I even thought about taking a step in anything that doesn't reflect where I'm trying to go. That's what you got to put in your head. Every decision you make, does this decision influence where I'm ultimately trying to go? Because if it does, you got to get rid of it. So these conversations that I came in and have today, I can go all day, because I love sharing the reason why people don't realize what you got to give up to become great. What sacrifices you got to make to become great. What promises you got to make to yourself to become great. Greatness ain't a thought process. Greatness is a lifestyle. It's what you live by.
Given all the opportunities that are there in the world, to try and figure out the thing that actually makes you want to get up in the morning, the thing that you actually love. I just know that if I weren't lucky enough to have been given the opportunity to write a movie or a show or direct anything or produce anything, I would still go home from whatever that day job is, and I would try to do it because I love it, not because I really want to make a certain amount of money. It's great to be comfortable. It can be dangerous to be comfortable, but it's great to be comfortable. But I just feel like if you can figure out the thing that makes you tick, find that thing. And the other thing I would say, I guess, is a lot of young people, I find, are under such pressure. There's a kind of sense of it's all or nothing, which I think is really unfair, meaning, I don't know if it's the media and the way things are presented, or if it's because there's so much success that is celebrated in society, but there is a sense I've heard enough that I feel like I haven't thought of this till now, that it is a kind of theme, that young people feel like if they don't know what they're born to do, that they're somehow broken. And I think that it needs to be looked at differently, which is that it means if you don't know that thing, it means that every door is the possibility. That's a beautiful thing. So I just feel like I would say don't stress yourself out. You know, the only reason I could deal with the pressure on Star Wars is because I loved making that movie. And if it didn't work, of course I would have been crushed, but I wasn't doing it because it was a job. And if you can find that thing and deal with the pressure of maybe not making the amount of money that you would like to yet, or not getting to the company you'd like to yet, or not having success with your startup yet, these are all things that I think you can swallow if the thing you're doing speaks to you.
And I have stage fright, you know, and I never confronted the risk. Or when I did confront, I mean, Belgium, you know, 2000, year 2000, that was, you have no idea what it took them to get me to do it. No.
Yes?
I had 1,000 excuses why not to do it. And then finally I did it, and it was, exquisitely horrifying. That's the only way I can put it.
Complex.
Yes, it was very, very, very complex. And what was really good was right at the beginning, within like 2 seconds, I played just the worst wrong note. And I could either stop and cry or I could laugh, right? And it didn't kill me. And nobody else out there, nobody was throwing anything, you know, it was fine. Thank you to the people of Ghent for not killing me and giving me the courage and you know, and the absurdity. You know, you have to be able to laugh at yourself, and you have to learn how to laugh at yourself.
I'm a workaholic, and it's like being an alcoholic. I just can't give it up. I've been unwell for 2 weeks, and I feel unwell, you know, so I can't go to work. Because I can't go to work, I get worse. If I sit in one place, I'm stressed. The reason I'm not fidgeting too much is because I'm unwell. Otherwise, I hate sitting in one place. Some work has to be given to me. You know, my wife and my children keep telling me that, you know, you work 20 years round the clock. Why are you doing this? I don't think I need the money. I don't think I'm greedy for more fame. I'm doing okay. I can do one film in 2 years and be happy with it. But I'm just not happy. I tell everyone, if I'm not working, I'm depressed. So I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing. Maybe at the end of it all, when we die, God will say, did you work? I say, yes, a lot. Oh, damn, you go to hell because I didn't want anyone to work. Or it would be, oh, you worked. That's really nice, because I wanted everyone to work. So I don't know, one of them is going to be right. But I just keep working. I think I have this fear that you have very few days in life, and you need to cram it up with a lot of things. You need to fit it with so many things in it that you don't have space for life. It should be like that. When I'm not working, I get lonely, I get depressed, I get sad. I don't drink, I'm not a philosopher, I'm not a poet, that I like loneliness. I hate being alone, and I hate being with people at times. I'm unsocial, I'm very odd with people. So what happens is I have replaced people with work in my life, because when I'm working, I'm with a lot of people. And there are people I can interact with, because somewhere there is a wall that I'm not interacting with them socially. I'm interacting them through this common goal, that is the work. So I can discuss with her or discuss with him, and we are friends for that moment. Many of my filmmaking colleagues complain that after the film is over, you don't talk to us. I can't explain to them, I don't have anything else to say. I love you, I miss you, but I miss you through the work. I don't, I'm very fond of a lot of people. A lot of people I love like family, and I can't pick up the phone and talk with them. I can't socialize with them. I can't sit and chat with them. But when we are working, I can just be with them. So I don't know, work is sort of, I have replaced loneliness, depression, and people with work.
If you say, I'm a fraud, they'll figure me out, I'll never be able to do it again, that's an artist's thought processes. You're an artist. If you're thinking like that, you're on the right track, because they all feel that. So there's always some success that can come out even out of your failures. In fact, probably your biggest successes will come directly from your failures. So you should almost take that. Winston Churchill's quote is my favorite. Success is moving from one failure to the next with great enthusiasm. You should be very enthusiastic about your failures, because you're going to learn something. You're going to go that way when everyone else is going that way. And you're going to stumble, but you're also going to stumble upon something that no one ever thought of. So, you just keep going, and you're going to fail and then rise up and fail again. And that's the journey, up and down, man.
Working all night and doing weird antisocial days at weekends, you'll forget about your social life. That's the sort of sacrifice to commitment. It's nothing quite on the level that Julian sacrifices, but you don't get to see your family, you don't get to see your friends, you are removed from the reality of your life to pursue a given goal, so there is a kind of comparison. I guess you sacrifice a part of yourself because you're exposing either end of the spectrums of acting, whether it's just variations of who you are or whether it's completely disassembling into a different character and persona. Equally valid in my opinion. I don't think there's really a distinction to draw other than people who are good or bad at it. But I think then you do have to give part of yourself no matter what you're doing, and that you don't lose, you sometimes gain actually by doing that, but you have to suppress and control certain instincts that you have in order to actually be true to a character that may not be the same as you, or be driven by the same things as you.
Talk to so many smart, fantastic, ambitious, idealistic, hard-working kids, and they're right out of college, they're in their entry-level jobs, and I'll ask them, how's it going? And they'll say, I think I'm gonna quit. And I'm like, why? They say to me, I'm not making an impact. I'm like, you know you've been here 8 months, right? They treat the sense of fulfillment or even love like it's a scavenger hunt, like it's something you look for. My millennial friends, they've gone through so many jobs. They're either getting fired, I mean, it was mutual, or they're quitting because they're not making an impact, or they're not finding the thing they're looking for, they're not feeling fulfilled, as if it's a scavenger hunt. Love, a job you find joy from, is not something you discover. It's not like, I found love. Here it is. I found a job I love. That's not how it works. Both of those things require hard work. You are in love because you work very hard every single day of your life to stay in love. You find a job that brings you ultimate joy because you work hard every single day to serve those around you, and you maintain that joy. It's not a discovery. But the problem is the sense of impatience. It's as if an entire generation is standing at the foot of a mountain. They know exactly what they want. They can see the summit. What they can't see is the mountain. This large, immovable object. That doesn't mean you have to do your time. That's not what I'm talking about. Take a helicopter, climb, I don't care. But there's still a mountain. Life, career fulfillment, relationships are journeys. The problem is, this entire generation has an institutionalized sense of impatience, and do they have the patience to go on the journey to maintain love, to feel fulfilled, or do they just quit and on to the next, dump and on to the next, ghost and on to the next?
In looking at some of the definitions of options: decision, self-determination, choice, preference, desire. I want to share something with you that's relative to critical options, because we all have them in our lives. And I want to ask you a question. What is the focus of your life? What is the focus of your life? In life, you have a critical option. You can take a stand in your life, or you can follow the crowd. See, people who follow the crowd, their lives are not focused. They're not immersed in anything. People who take a stand, they're living a life that has some power, a life of achievement, a life that has some meaning. People that are taking a stand in life, they are consciously involved in a process to design a life of substance. People who are following the crowd, these are people that they're just doing what everybody else is doing. So that's a crowded road over there. They're following the followers. I want to talk to you about taking a stand with your life, and what are some of the things we can do that will enable us to give our lives up in a way that has some purpose and meaning, that can be real for us, that can give us a sense of fulfillment, of joy and happiness and peace of mind. See, most people are bored with life. Most people feel that life isn't worth the hassle, that life is just wearing me out. It's boring, it's monotonous. I have nothing to look forward to. Here we go again, another Monday morning. TGIF Day, thank God it's Friday. Here we go again, oh boy. You see what the man meant about many people die at age 25 and don't get buried until they're 65? Doing the same thing the same way every day, looking at these faces, just walking around. I mean, you got to be aware of these faces. They affect you, you know. Try to stay around pleasant faces, and if you have an unpleasant face, try and smile more. It's good for your health. And there's another dividend, you look better too. So looking for a way in which we can begin to give our lives some special power. Number one, commit yourself to giving your best at all times. Now that's not easy. See, most people, and particularly those who are working in corporations, they're finding now they've got to change their behavior. We're now involved in a world economy. We will never do business the way in which we've done business in the past. We will never be able to, in the American workplace, do just enough to get by. Now the standards have been raised. Quality and productivity has been increased because of the competition. And so now average performance will not be enough. This is a new day. Competition is fierce. So people who've been locked into a behavior pattern are working just hard enough to keep from getting fired. They're being laid off, are forced into early retirement. It's a new game now. So now more than ever, it's about increased productivity. Now more than ever, it's about superior quality service. Now more than ever, it's about creating a positive atmosphere in the workplace, and people that have that competitive edge, people that are hungry to make it. So you got to be hungry now. You can't just casually walk around, well, I'll get to it later on. Oh, no, this is a new day right now. Committing yourself to give your best at all times, regardless of the competition to do otherwise, or the influences of negative people that will tell you, hey, look here, don't push yourself too much. Now's the time to push yourself, to always get in the habit of giving the best that you have to share.
You really can't plan a fight when you're meeting a man you've never met before, right? You just have to get your tools ready. Here's a car stops on the highway. They call the AAA or whatever and say, my car's broke down. What it is, the lady, she don't know it's broke. Well, the man comes with all the tools, and he come equipped to handle whatever the problem is. An astronaut goes into space, and he pretends that something happens to the ship before he take off. He gets out and he works on it. He's not looking for something to happen, but it might happen. So I just had everything ready. Now, after the first round, being here with a top professional, a man so great, had so many knockouts, never been defeated, never been even scratched, I didn't know really how good he was. So I had to come in, actually a little nervous, and with everything ready. After one round of dancing, I found out that this would tire me out. So I would have to resort to ropes. I figured that out after the first round. So I said, I'm gonna go to these ropes, and I'm gonna let this man throw everything he can, let him tire himself out. He might look like he's winning, and if he don't hurt me, I'm gonna stay here. But if he should be as great as they say he is, if he hits as hard as they say he hit, when he hits you and breaks your arm, he knocked out Joe Frazier, I couldn't do it, knocked out Ken Norton, he was a big bad giant before the fight, you remember. Now, you remember that, don't you? Yeah, I do. How bad he was? They don't say that now, but you remember he was a real bad cat the other day, right? Don't forget that. Now, after I found out he didn't have it, I stayed there. But if he had had what I thought he had or what they said he had, I'd have kept running, hoping I wouldn't get tired.
How many times have you had somebody say to you, hey, have you got a minute, Bob? Have you got a minute? They don't want a minute. I want you to think about that. I read a poem one time. It said, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It was forced upon me. I can't refuse it. I didn't seek it and I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. It's only a tiny little minute, but eternity is in it. Well, at any rate, I thought I'm going to put this on a video and I'm just going to share it with everybody. Just this one little part out of the seminar I'm making. I want you to look at this sand timer and I want you to think about your life. The sand in the top of the glass represents the future. The sand in the bottom of the glass represents the past. Now, do you know, we know what's in the past, and yet we can't do anything about it. Do you know what the trick is? You don't know how much sand's in the top of the glass. You may think you have a lot, you might only have a little. Then again, you may think you have a little, and you might have a lot. When I was a little boy, I was raised by my grandmother. And I don't know, when I was a little gaffer, she was probably 60, but as long as I can remember, Grandma would say, I'll soon be gone, dear, I'll soon be gone. Well, you know, we loved her. She was really an angel of God, but we thought she was never going to go. She lived to be 94 for 30-some years. I'll soon be gone. She didn't think she had much time left. She had 34 years left. Now, about the same time, I had a buddy of mine, Bob Yates. He was just 16. And bang, he ran into the abutment of a bridge and his life was snuffed out. If you had asked him a half hour before how much sand he had left, he would have said at least a half a century. He didn't have a half an hour. See, the trick is we don't know how much sand we have left. The future, we don't know. The past, it's gone. Now, the only thing you can deal with is what's right here, right now. And if you look, the sand is always moving. Now, think of this. You see, I was working on that, and then I was working on a graph I've got here on my computer, and I'm thinking of the time somebody said, hey, have you got a minute? Well, they don't really want a minute. Do you know if you're earning $50,000 a year, a minute's 42 cents? A half hour is $12.50. If we take that ahead a bit, If you're earning $80,000 a year, a minute 67 cents. Half hour is $20. If you're earning $150,000 a year, you got a minute? It costs you $1.25 a minute. A half hour is $37.50. So you see, if somebody said, "You want to stop for a cup of coffee?" Well, if you're earning $250,000 a year, a minute is $2.08. Half hour is $62.50. And then, of course, you got the coffee to pay for on top of that. So you see, the point is this. This is all we've got right here, right now. We don't know how much we have left in the future, but we do know what we've got now. And I have found the people that win are the people who make up their mind they're not going to waste the minutes. They're going to be productive. They're going to make it happen every minute.